Hi there folks, my name is NovaWrap and welcome to the NovaWrap, your one-stop location for your simulation release news and goings on from the week that was. So here we are on Sunday the 13th of May 2018 and happy International Top Gun Day to everybody. Yes, as well as it was also Mother's Day out there, so to all the mothers listening, happy Mother's Day to you. If you have a mother in your life, make sure you tell her, say thank you very much and say hi to her and happy Mother's Day to her today. But moving on with the simulation releases news for the week, we're going to jump straight into it this week with X-Plane. So the long-awaited for VR users, the long-awaited update over to 11.2 has gone live. It went live on Thursday this week. So the 11.2 is at its core an update for VR. So there's not a huge amount of other stuff that's come into there as well, but it's essentially fully implemented the full native VR experience for X-Plane, and it is absolutely spectacular. I mean, I personally don't have VR, but speaking to Belgioed and Sergio from helisimmer.com, and as well as other users, the VR experience is absolutely second to none now, because considering that it is native and doesn't require any additional software. So really great to see that. And speaking and talking with other users, it definitely seems to be that as far as VR goes, Aerofly and X-Plane definitely seem to be the place to be as far as flight sims and VR goes. So there you go. So if you're a VR user or thinking about VR, you definitely want to be upgrading to X-Plane 11 version 11.2. But if you are not a VR user like me, there are some other things that have come out that would be of interest as well, including a brand new additional default aircraft, which is an Aerolite 103 Ultralight. It's now been included. They have finally got round to updating landmarks for Sydney, Australia, i.e. the Harbour Bridge and the Sydney Opera House. You know, it's only been out 20 years, but, you know, we finally got the update, so thanks, guys. I've also included some updates for the GPS and FMS system built into X-Plane, updated some translations for the German languages as well, upgraded as well some of the jetways and terminal kits for the sim, as well as implementing those updates in the scenery designer that comes packaged with it as well. So pretty cool update. As I said, primarily it is there as a VR update, but it does include some stuff for the rest of us as well. So free updates is simply fire up X-Plane, your X-Plane client, and it will prompt you letting you know that there is a new version for you to update to. Click the update. It's a fairly small update. We'll go through and get that done in a few minutes for you, available now for free. Alright, as I said, there's a bit of X-Plane news this week, so continuing on with other X-Plane releases. So we'll continue on with X-Plane scenery releases. So the guys over at Aerosoft have come out and they have released their Daytona Beach International scenery for X-Plane 11. Now this is a highly detailed recreation of the Daytona Beach International Airport, including the Daytona International Speedway track next door as well, and also gives you a second airport as is packaged with this as well, which is Lafayette Landing, so a small commuter airport. It's a more sort of GA airport just nearby as well. So now this includes a full up-to-date layout of the airport as it appears at the end of 2017. High resolution textures throughout, including photoreal on the buildings as well as the taxiways. Detailed terminal interiors and glass effects have been included as well. Full compliance with high resolution textures with PBR effects as well. Photoreal scenery for the airport and the surrounding areas included as well as a whole heap of custom models and custom buildings for the surrounding city as well. So really impressive to see that one. Animated environments surrounding airport vehicles have been included as well. Custom bridge models for the bridges in the area, and full compatibility with animated jetways and safe docks and a marshallable system using the auto-free community AutoGate plugin. So this one is available now from Aerosoft, coming in at a grand old price of $29 US, available now. In another scenery release for X-Plane, the guys over at Just Sim have brought their Vnukovo International Airport to X-Plane 11. Now, they released this one for the ESP platforms, or for Prepared V4, a couple of weeks ago, and they followed up very shortly, as has been pretty much their standard op MO lately, by coming out with a release for X-Plane 11. So this is one of the airports, a dual runway airport, international airport servicing Moscow. So it's about 28 kilometers southwest of the center of Moscow, one of 4 major airports actually servicing the area. So yeah, it's got a fairly varied history. It goes back, has quite a few firsts, including the first passenger flight of the Ilyushin IL-18 and the Tu-114 coming out of this airport, as well as the expansions and the full modelling of the airport as it's evolved through the years. Primarily, though, it does cater more for an international business traveller market, which is where it has a lot of business jet travel. And although it does have sort of some regular passenger services, it's probably there for larger private business jets, including a lot of traffic from the official Russian government aircraft that operate out of this airport as well, which has been modelled. I don't know if the Russians use Russian Air Force One. I don't know what they call it, but yes, that is included as part of the scenery here as well. Now, this scenery does include a detailed. It is a highly detailed rendition of the airport, including up-to-date airport layout as appears at the end of 2017. Fully customized airport objects and vehicles suitable for the aircraft, suitable for the airport, including full compliance with X-Plane 11 PBR texturing, PBR lighting, high resolution lighting, and shadowing and texturing all included as well. Custom runway texturing, custom lighting effects, and realistic reflections on the glass. Fully compatible with X-Life traffic as well for that plugin, and fully compatible with the animated jetways plugin as well. Does also include rain effects on the ground. That is for those users who do have X Enviro version 1.08 and above. So for Enviro users, you get some of the eye candy that comes out of that one. Now, if you want to pick this one is available over at Sim Market, coming in at $24 US, or your regional equivalent, available now. In other X-Plane releases for the weeks, the guys over at Just Flight have continued bringing a lot of their content over from the ESP platforms, bringing it over to X-Plane, when they've continued that by bringing more of their in-house productions of the TB10 Tobago and TB20 Trinidad. So these aircraft are very popular GA aircraft with additional, quite spacious, comfortable cabin seating, powered by piston engines for the TB by like having a 0360 180 horsepower engine for the TB10 and a 250 horsepower 540 piston engine for the TB20. So really high detail renditions of this aircraft. The TB10 with its fixed tricycle undercarriage, the TB20 with its retractable undercarriage. Looking absolutely beautiful. Now, these have come in with very high detailed modelling of the aircraft, and not just the modelling of the actual external models and the flight dynamics, but also includes full modelling of a lot of these systems, including custom coding. Custom gauges have been put in to make sure that they actually model things like oil burn, oil usage, and fuel gases as well. So you actually, if you don't sort of lean the mixture while you're on the ground and actually sort of wind back the mixture while sitting idling on the ground, you will actually fail the spark plugs. So that's something that's fairly rare in X-Plane, and it's actually fairly rare in all of the simulator platforms, and this has got specific coding, so it's great to see here. Full checklist, interactive checklist available for every stage of flight, and a configuration setup, so you can actually very quickly switch the aircraft, put it in a cold and dark state, or you can set it for a ready for takeoff if you are wanting to get going and get just jump straight into the aircraft as well. Now, it does also have full compatibility with the Reality XP GTN 750 if you do have that for X-Plane 11. Otherwise, it has full compliance and full use of its own integrated systems and custom systems for it. Otherwise, it does also make use of the inbuilt GPS units for X-Plane. So it comes with a whole stack of liveries, whole heap of beautiful things. I won't get too far into it, but this is a wonderful setup. It was a great setup in the ESP platforms, and look, it is an absolutely beautiful setup again in the X-Plane platforms as well. So if you are wanting to pick this one up, this one is available for $42 US, available now from Just Flight. Alright, moving out of the X-Plane release world and moving into the ESP platform release. So again, sticking with Just Flight though, they have brought to the table, they've been hinting at it for a little bit so that they would be updating their traffic services, and they have now launched into early access their Traffic Global title. So the Traffic series has been Just Flight's sort of AI traffic series for a number of years. They've come out with, this I believe is the 4th iteration of it, and has now been brought out to be maintain full compliance with all of the ESP range, so all all the way from FSX, FSX Steam Editions, and prepared versions 3 and 4. Of course, there are a lot of people waiting for prepared V4 integration because a lot of the old AI traffic that everybody's been using for years, it no longer works in V4. So, Traffic Global is supposed to work with prepared V4. Now, so they have a whole huge overhaul of the system. So they've updated all the models that are included, including actual aircraft that actually the most common aircraft that are being used by airliners these days, as well as and also removing aircraft that are no longer in operation or no longer in common operation. Updated with a whole heap of airlines that are actually active airlines as they are at the moment, with the whole and all integrated with schedules matching what they do in the real world. So this is looking like a pretty pretty amazing setup, very similar to what we've seen before, but it's a lot more detail and just had a bit of an overhaul because the previous version, which was Traffic 360, was getting a bit long in the tooth. It stopped having, it only supported up to prepared V1. It was its last time schedules were for 2012, I want to say. I think maybe 2013. But so it's definitely needed an overhaul, that's for sure. This comes with hundreds of models depicting hundreds of airlines. So there's a lot of stuff in here. But a couple of points though before you sort of go out and rush out and buy it. Now, this is an early access product, so it's not finished. So the next comments I'm going to make are going to be made with a caveat that it is not finished. It's still a work in progress. So it is an early access product. It's not finished. It does offer a little few tools. There are some issues, some bugs about where the airports are going to, and it may not go to the right gates and things like that, which they are acknowledging, and they do have a dedicated forum for you to report those issues. But what's actually concerning me a little bit, and it may be a small thing, and it's probably not going to affect a lot of users, but I just think it's a bit of an oversight and a distinct difference between this version of the Traffic series, Traffic Global and Traffic 360, is the fact that this only includes airliners. So it includes a whole heap of tube liners. It includes, I think, 4 turboprop aircraft. But that's it. There are no helicopters. There is no military traffic, whether it be combat military or transport military, and no GA. So, okay, the GA possibly we can live without a little bit. That's fine. But yeah, the lack of military traffic and the lack of helicopter traffic, that I think is I'm hoping it's just simply a fact that it's in development at the moment, so we haven't actually seen it. We're not seeing the finished product, but I can't find any mention of any plans to integrate that at the moment, which is why I'm bringing it up, because it's just simply not mentioned in the plans. It's not mentioned in the description or anything like that. So I'm hoping that it is simply a case of that it is just simply it's going to be developed. It's just not out yet. It's just not integrated yet. But I guess we shall see as time moves on. If you are wanting to take advantage of this one though, and grab it while it is in early access, you get a fairly decent discount at the moment. You get essentially 11 US dollars off the price. So its normal price once it gets released will be 53 US dollars, or your regional equivalent. Right now it's on the launch price of 42 US dollars, or your regional equivalent, available from the Just Flight website. As I said, just bear in mind it is an early access product. It's not finished. They don't have an ETA on when it will be completely finished. But if you do want to pick it up and give it a go now, as I said, fully compatible with FSX, FSX Steam Edition, and prepared version 3 and 4, so pretty much all of the ESP platforms in use these days, coming in available now from Just Flight. Alright, sticking with ESP World, but moving on to FSX Steam Edition. So we saw a release on FSX Steam Edition, which we haven't seen much of releases into the Steam Edition marketplace for a little while. But we saw the guys from Aerosoft bring over their mega airport Berlin Brandenburg over into the FSX Steam Edition stables. Now, this has been available from the Aerosoft website for about 18 months now. Actually, I think a bit longer. Actually, I think it'd be close to 2 years now. Actually, or even maybe. I think it'd be at least 2 years it's been available for now. But it's finally made its way over onto the FSX Steam Edition store. And now this gives you a rendition, an updated detailed rendition of Berlin Schönefeld, Berlin Brandenburg Airport, but also includes Berlin Schönefeld as well. So you actually kind of get two for the one deal. you can switch between the current status or one where you have the old airport, or one with the new airport. You've got the nav charts have all been updated, high detail VFR landmarks for the surrounding area, as well as including a full seasonal automatic changing winter. Yeah, let me start again. A fully changing integrated seasonal texture set has been included. Visual docking system, full detailed nav systems, and approach charts have all been included in the documentation. Day and night textures, high HD textures have been included for all of the all of the ground markings, textures, buildings, and surrounding areas all included. So pretty damn extensive coverage. They've also got a coverage of about 100 square kilometers of high-res photoreal with custom auto-gen has been included as well, with custom terrain mesh. So a lot of details in here, a lot of details and stuff. It has had an update as well for the version, for the non-Steam version as well. So I think that's why they're bringing it over into Steam Edition now. But a couple of things to note here, and it's a bit interesting. So normally when things come available on the FSX Steam Edition Steam store, normally they come in at a lower price than the price that you see on the normal market, on the normal retailers. But this time around, it's actually coming in a bit more expensive. So on the Steam store, it's coming in at $35 US, whereas on the Airsoft store, it's coming in at $25 US, which is a bit interesting. Because as I said, normally we see stuff on the Steam store, the Steam Edition store is usually a bit cheaper than what you see it on the publisher's website. So it's a bit interesting that that's not the case this time. But it does have all the updates and all the things that have come through, and it's essentially the exact same version as the one you get from the Airsoft website or your favorite flight sim retailer. So up to you which one you want to grab. Either way, it's not going to work with Prepared. With Prepared V4, it will work with V3. So if you are wanting the V4 version, you will need to grab the Professional Edition from the Aerosoft website. So there you go. But if I want to pick this one up for your Steam Edition, yeah, I can't recommend that you pick it up from the Steam Edition store for $35. I really can't, for considering that it is getting a bit long in the tooth now. I definitely would say if you are wanting to grab this airport, grab it from your favorite flight sim retailer off Steam. Alrighty, moving away from the flight sim world now and moving into the world of the permanent way with a couple of releases for Train Simulator this week. So the first one we saw was the release of the Feather River Canyon Scenario Pack. So this scenario pack gives us 10 new scenarios for Train Simulator's Feather River Canyon route available separately, and gives you some more challenges to actually go through, and so it gets you some of the more obscure parts of the tracks that's available in that canyon route. So very impressive visuals looking here, using assets from a couple of different add-ons. So this is one of those scenario packs that is very much about a cross-selling for the Train Simulator franchise. So not only to get the full experience with all 10 of these scenarios, to be able to use them all, not only do you need the actual Feather River Canyon route, you also are going to need several other trains as well. So have a read of the requirements before you do purchase. But otherwise, if you do have all the add-ons already and want to get some great new scenarios for your career, this might be something that you might want to grab. As it goes through, these 10 career scenarios are all based on actual Western Pacific rail operations during the 60s and 70s. So gives you a chance to experience both passenger services as well as mainline and local freight, as well as yard operations. So a lot of interesting stuff here, a lot of challenging scenarios going through here, especially some of the switching tasks that get done here as well. So as I said, does require a bit of extra, so quite a few different add-ons, but if you're probably into this scenario, into this route, you've probably got the suitable trains if you do, but just have a read through the requirements before you pick it up. If you want to pick this one up though, you get 10 scenarios for $10 US available now on Steam. And in the other Train Simulator release for the week, we saw the release of the Arriva Trains Wales Class 150/2 unit. So this was a sort of feature of sort of British engineering, sort of the tail end of British engineering, as it were, sort of maybe even, dare I say, a last gasp of British rail engineering. So it all arose out of a requirement during the 1980s. British Rail was still operating a lot of trains that had their heritage back in the 1950s or even earlier, and they were looking for sort of something to revolutionary, sort of change and update their fleet, and whether they were looking at either buying new trains, getting new build trains, or actually maybe looking at refurbishing and rebuilding some existing stock that they had, and actually putting like new essentially overhauling them, rebuilding them from the ground up with new engines, and actually making essentially a new train out of them. And in the end, there was several old Sprinter Mark IIIs that were actually sort of turned into prototypes for what would eventually become known as the Class 150. Now they went through originally with a couple of different designs. Two different designs were sort of tested. One with a Cummins engine and with a Voith hydraulic system, or a Rolls-Royce, or the other one had a Rolls-Royce engine with self-changing mechanical transmission. In the end, it would prove the Rolls-Royce one was less than ideal in its reliability. So the Cummins engine and Voith hydraulics transmission system was the one that was adopted, and these would end up being known as the Class 150. Now, initially, a batch of 50 were produced with the original specifications, or became known as the Class 150/1s, but then a updated, uprated, more powerful version, additional 50, were produced as the 150/2s. And that's the version that's being modeled here as part of this add-on. Now, this is done as a Pro Series release, so it does has a very highly detailed rendition of this Class 50 150/2. Now, this includes a very highly detailed rendition of the physics engine for braking and acceleration, updated communication system, and a full, very highly detailed rendition of the hydraulic transmission system and the braking system, as I said before. It includes wheel slip protection simulation, wheel slide simulation as well as dynamic exhaust effects, and a cold and dark start option, along with a very detailed lighting and a beautiful 3D model for that as well. So very much a highly detailed rendition of this one, and it's actually a set of trains that actually continue to be served this day. They are still used by Arriva Trains in Wales, who still have 34 of them operating throughout Wales, in and out of Cardiff. So it's very much a testament of sort of that older British engineering that's actually survived for so long. As I said, this one does include 2 liveries for its trains as well, as they appear at the moment for different of the Class 150/2s, and also includes 3 career scenarios for use with the South Wales Coastal Bristol to Swansea route. So if you do have that route as well, if you don't have that route, you can still use the train in quick drive and on any other route. It is fully quick drive compatible. But as I said, just beware that it is a pro range train, so it does take a little bit more than just jump in and drive. Now, if you want to pick this one up and add it to your virtual train stable, it is available for $20 or your original equivalent, available now on Steam. Alrighty, folks, and with that does wrap up the NovaWrap for this week. Thank you very much for tuning in. Don't forget, as always, to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying these videos and want to see more. And of course, as always, you can catch up with me and all the things I'm up to between videos by finding me on Facebook and on Twitter. Just search NovaWing24. Alright, folks, thanks very much for watching. Take care, safe skies to all, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.